Welcome back, YouTube. As always,
Yes,
just getting
sir.
set up everything onto Instagram really quick as well. But how's it going, YouTube? Welcome back, man. We finally have UFC back. Here we go. 2
Been a
seconds here.
week. Been a week.
Yeah, long
Last week's
week
show was kind
without
of
UFC.
nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
long week without UFC, but you know
Yes, sir.
what?
But we are
NHL
back.
playoffs started. NBA playoffs started. We've had our fair share of sports.
Yes. But with a long week off, finally we're back with another UFC event in Kansas City. Ian Gary versus Carlos Protest. This was originally supposed to be Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. That got replaced with this Ian Gary matchup versus Protest, which I'm super excited for. Can't wait to dive into breaking down that matchup. But to start us off, we got Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. And again, just as a little intro, insider betting. We're back, baby. Feels good to be back.
We're back every Thursday, 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Central. What is it? 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, sir.
um, yes, sir. Let's pull up these graphics here that we got. Ikram Aliskerov's taking off Andre Muniz, and he's coming in as a minus 520 favorite. Pretty nuts. Aliskerov was on a 7-fight win streak, winning 2 in the UFC before he lost to Robert Whitaker. Robert Whitaker is obviously legend of the sport, and Ikram Aliskerov fought him on a 1 week's notice last time. He was supposed to fight at the Apex. He did get a full camp, but he was supposed to fight someone else. I forget who it was. And then Whitaker's fight got canceled in Saudi Arabia, which was supposed to be the week after Aliskerov's fight. So then they bumped Aliskerov to that card. So he went from fighting in Vegas to fighting in Saudi Arabia. Third fight in the UFC against, I think Whitaker was probably ranked top 5 at the time for sure, probably top 3 even, I feel like. And so pretty intense fight to go into his third fight in the UFC. Honestly, like the odds kind of say it, but Ikram should win this fight pretty easily. He's far better in terms of striking, and even though he hasn't had to really wrestle in the UFC too much yet, he is pretty good on the ground. You see, he averages 1.82 takedowns per fight, so he knows what he's doing there. And yes, Andre Muniz, that the ground game is his bread and butter in a sense, but his 2 most recent losses are against 2 guys who can also wrestle, being Brendan Allen and Paul Craig, and they outworked him there. I think Aliskerov's just better all around. I think he'll outwork him on the ground if it gets there. I think that's like a big way for him to win, actually. But I think he'll keep it up on the feet as well and just kind of piece him up slowly. You see he lands 7 per minute as opposed to 2. So, yeah, I got Ikram. I think it's a pretty solid lock of the night here. I don't see him losing, really.
Yeah, and it also seems like Andre Muniz hasn't fought since Paul Craig knocked him out in 2023. And I think that fight that Ikram was supposed to fight before that Whitaker fight was against Andre Muniz at the Apex. So this fight was supposed to happen for a while now. Ikram, being the prospect that he was, got that opportunity to jump up, short notice, fight Robert Whitaker in Saudi Arabia. So can't really pass that one up. Took the opportunity, unfortunately didn't go his way, off short notice, got clean knocked out, but still a massive favorite in this one. I think the books are just like, this is a setup fight, Ikram's bounce back fight. Andre Muniz does tend to do a little bit better when he is grappling. It's just Ikram, we haven't really seen his ground game yet. If this is the fight where these two go to the ground, maybe we see Ikram locking a submission, and now we could be like, okay, he's been tested on the ground. We've seen his game on the ground. He is really the kind of prospect we think he is and can be. I'm still big on Ikram. I still think the taking him here isn't a bad move, even though he's such a big favorite. I still think it's a good pick for your parlays. I think this is a setup fight. I'd take Ikram by finish early. I think he's going to submit him maybe in the first, second round.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ikram early finish is a good lock. And yeah, he hasn't been tested on the ground in the UFC, but in his 15 wins, 6 of those by knockout, 5 of those are submissions, so he does have the resume showing that he can do it. He just hasn't had to in the UFC yet, but it's only his 4th fight. So we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty heavy on him. I don't think he's going to lose this one personally.
Yeah. I don't feel any way like there's any way I could put anything on Andre Muniz here. It's just a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, I agree. Next fight of the night, we got Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. I don't know why Randy Brown is a fighter that like I can never bet on. He's got 3 wins in his last 5, so it's not like he's a bad bet most of the time, but he does feel kind of iffy a lot of the time. His most recent fight, he lost a split decision to Brian Battle. Actually, both of these guys are coming off of split decision losses. Randy Brown against Brian Battle, Nicholas Dalby against Renat Akerdinov, I think is how you pronounce that.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Dalby is old, man. He's 40 years old. His last fight was almost a year ago. He's coming up against a guy who's 34. He's tough as nails, but I don't think that I think it's Randy Brown's fight to lose, and I don't think Dalby really has a chance to win. It's just more so if Randy Brown does something wrong, or maybe it's like a close fight on the scorecards, and that's how he gets the win. But I think that Randy Brown's got the reach advantage. He's got the height advantage. He's going to keep his distance. He's going to try to pick his shots. I think he'll have to keep a little bit of pressure on there. Otherwise, Nicholas Dalby might shoot for a couple takedowns here and there. But yeah, I don't see Dalby winning. I think it's going to be a clean win for Randy Brown. I just don't like betting on him.
Well, I feel a lot better betting on him than the 40-year-old. I'm so done betting on these older guys. I do like what you said about this is Randy Brown's fight to lose. I kind of agree with that. I think Nicholas Dalby is going to be the one shooting the takedowns, pushing him up against the cage, trying to clinch him up, trying to get those takedowns, the control time, the constant pressure. Well, Randy Brown's just going to try and kick, get him off the cage. We saw in his last fight against Brian Battle, that was a huge thing that he's worked on in this camp, is not getting controlled up against the fence, which I think is what Dalby's going to be trying to do. Take from his last fight, get a close decision win here against Randy Brown. But I think Randy Brown could put him away. He's a little older. If he catches Dalby just throwing at the wind, coming in, taking missteps and just taking too many risks, Randy Brown's not the kind of guy you want to be taking too many risks against. He still can put the lights out of fighters. I do believe that. I think he's one of the most talented strikers. I can't really say that in welterweight, the whole division is just so stacked with strikers, but he's one of these favorable strikers, elite strikers that I like to watch. I believe in Randy Brown. I'm confident in this pick. I think the Vegas got the line right on this one. I think it's a fair odds, plus 140, I believe it is, for Randy Brown. Big favorite. I'm taking him as well, and I feel good about it.
I checked this morning. It was minus 265 and minus 215. So maybe it's increasing the gap. Maybe a lot of money's going on Randy Brown. But yeah, I do think this fight's going to decision. Dalby's never been knocked out. All his losses, all 5 have been by decision. Do I think Randy Brown's a solid striker? Yes. Do I think he can potentially put the lights out for certain people? Yes. I don't think Dalby's the guy he's going to put out, though. I think he's going to go to decision. And I think what has to be kept in mind is that he was on a 3-5 win streak before Brian Battle. It was a split decision loss, and he was actually like it was a decent fight for him, you know. Yeah. I think he outstroked Brian Battle, and he had 2 takedowns against him to Brian's 0. So it was it was more of a damage play there.
When was Nicholas Dalby's last fight?
I think it was June last year. It's been 10 months.
And even in his media day, he was talking a bit about mental health, having to overcome a bunch of struggles in his personal life. He says he's had a lot to balance. I think his mind might be a little bit separated from fighting, which is just something that comes with these fighters growing into their age. Like, he's 40 years old. I think his mind is separating from like the young, hungry fighter to like more of like adulting and his personal life. So I just think this is Randy Brown still wants the title. You know what I mean? Nicholas Dalby, I don't think that's a reality for him. So I think this is going to be the fight that kind of tests Dalby to see if he's either in it or he's out. I think he's going to be out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Before we move on to the next fight, I just wanted to say this is Insider Betting. We go live every single Thursday, 3 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. Eastern. We break down the entire main card. Sometimes we break down some prelims if there's some important ones. We don't always do it, but send a message in the chat if you disagree with us. Even though I think it's hard to disagree on our picks so far. And if you're watching on Instagram, make sure to follow. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. But anyway, had to get that quick shameless plug.
Of course,
at Cody Talks IF. Come on, you got to follow.
Of course, that. Yeah. And if there's ever a fight, even if it's on the prelims that you guys think that you have the lock of the card, let us know what you guys' locks are on these shows. We always want to know what people are betting, what people are into, what people are liking. So maybe I'd ride with you guys too. If you like my picks, ride with us. We've been doing pretty all right. So
Yeah, went 8 for 9 on the last card. At least I did. You had a little worse stuff, but we don't talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I still had some decent picks. I still had
Yeah.
some decent picks. Feeling really confident about this week, boys. Feeling really confident.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the next fight, we got Michelle Pereira taking on Abus Magomedov. Michelle Pereira is coming off of I think it was a bit of a layoff. I don't remember where his last fight was. But he's coming off of a loss to Anthony Hernandez. Do you remember when that fight was?
Just checking right now. 2024. This was October 2024, so while it's back.
Oh, it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
But he fought Anthony Hernandez. I remember breaking down that fight, and I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was.
Brutal fight.
Michelle Pereira was on an 8-fight win streak. It was his first 5-round fight. He gassed a little bit. He kind of got mauled by Anthony Hernandez. He kind of just did whatever he wanted in there. But Michelle Pereira is still a really, really solid fighter. I think just Anthony Hernandez just showed the level he's on, that was a 5-round fight. This is a 3-round fight. I think that Michelle is going to bring the pressure heavy. I think he's going to light up Abus on the feet, and he can also out-wrestle him on the ground, I think. Abus got a bit of size, and I think he's going to score a few takedowns. You see that he averages 3 per fight. He's got good takedown defense. I don't think Michelle Pereira is going to be necessarily the one doing the takedowns. I think he'll just be good on the ground when they get there, and I think he's going to be much more better on the feet. So I got Michelle Pereira winning, getting back in the win column. I'm not that hot on Abus. He's got losses against Kai Barrios, Sean Strickland. He's got decent wins against Bruno Ferreira, Dustin Stoltzfus, but I do think Michelle Pereira is a level above him, and I think he's going to win.
I think Michelle Pereira is a few levels above him. I think it's crazy that he's only 14th ranked in the division right now. He's shown the skills that he has the skill set to be a contender in this division, be a top 5 guy, be a top 10 guy, and get those money fights. But he's just that last performance against Anthony Hernandez. I don't think anybody saw that coming. He was coming off of a hot streak, and then he lands 29 punches to 220 punches. Just insane. Got taken down 10 times and just ragdolled that whole fight. So I'm hoping that we don't see something similar here. I do love that it's a 3-round fight. I think taking Michelle Pereira in a 3-round fight is easy money. Abus Magomedov, I'm also not too hot on. You would think with a last name like Magomedov that he'd just be a heavy wrestler, dominant wrestler, but he's really not. He's kind of a striker first. And if you're striking against Pereira, I think Abus has a little bit of a range advantage. He has a little bit of range on Pereira. But I just think the strength, the speed, the craftiness, the skill of Michelle Pereira should be able to put him away in this fight. We've seen Abus kind of get hurt and come back in fights, but I just think the constant pressure of Michelle Pereira, I think he's too strong. I think he finds a way to knock him out. I think he gets the finish against Abus. My original take on this fight was Abus might just wrestle him for 3 rounds and find a decision win. That's what I felt most comfortable with. But the more I look into Abus, you're right. He loses to these kind of bigger name guys. I think Michelle Pereira is a bigger name guy. He loses against, or he has wins against decent name guys, not anybody big. But once he bigger name guys, he either gets knocked out or loses a decision. So I think we see that again here. Knockout or decision win for Michelle Pereira. Feel good about it.
I think Michelle Pereira is a solid top 10 guy. I know he's not there yet, but I agree. He should be ranked higher. And Anthony Hernandez, I was just looking at the rankings. I think he showed he's top 5 material.
Yeah.
You still have people in Anthony Hernandez is ranked 9th right now. He's got Jared Cannonier above him, Robert Whitaker. You can drop those guys down.
Yeah.
Even Sean Strickland, I'm not too hot on. And then you have Roman Dolidze, who you could argue that Anthony is a little better, but he's solid. Moving on to the feature fight, though, we got Giga Chikadze taking on David Onama. Giga Chikadze is coming off of a loss to Arnold Allen and only has 3 wins in his last 5. He's a really solid striker with phenomenal kicks, but I think people were a lot hotter on him in the past than they are now. I think that kind of hype train's died down a little bit. David Onama is coming off a win against Roberto Romero, where he was actually pressured quite a bit and touched up quite a bit at the start, but he kind of took over that fight as it went on. And I think he also got his first takedown in that fight in like 2 years. So I know he's not really known for wrestling, but you see that he's got more. He averages more takedowns. He still has decent takedown defense, and I think he enjoys the grappling aspect of it. We got our high boys in the IG chat, Padwandos. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, David Onama. I think that the difference is that he felt the pressure from Roberto Romero in the last fight. I don't think Giga Chikadze fights like that. I think he's going to be very calm. He's going to be very technical. He's going to try to pick his shots. And I think David's kind of relentless pressure in a 3-round fight is going to be too much for someone like Giga Chikadze to kind of get in a flow of things and get in a rhythm. And I think David Onama takes this fight, which I think it can be flip-flopped. I don't hate if you argue for Giga. So far, I've only picked the favorites, so I don't like doing that. But I do feel strongly about all of them so far.
Yeah, this might be the first one that I might crack on the favorites here, just because Giga, I was kind of big on him before, like you said. I do like the way he fights. He is Georgian, which is a factor. I think we have to put these Georgians in a class of their own now. Just hardworking guys. Like we saw Roman Dolidze, 5-round main event against Marvin Vettori, who I took Marvin Vettori in that one, but he just showed to be a different dog. These Georgians, cardio is insane. And I think this is a cardio decision kind of fight. I think it goes to decision here. I don't think Giga gets knocked out by this guy. David Onama. David Onama. As you could tell, I haven't been a big fan of this guy. I don't know much about his career. I know that he has a loss to Nate Landwehr, so that's scary. If he could get put away, I don't think Nate Landwehr would have put him away. Did he? Did he get knocked out by Nate, the Train?
I don't think so.
Probably a decision there then.
Let's see.
But if he got clean knocked out by Nate the Train.
Nah, decision.
Decision, okay. And that was a while ago. The hype train is back on David Onama, is what I'm hearing. People think he's just going to outwork him, outstrike him, land more. Over 3 rounds, I think it's hard. I kind of like Giga. I kind of like Giga on this one. Not gonna lie.
We had Padwandos in the chat say that he thinks Giga is more technical, and I agree with that. I do think Giga is more technical, so I don't hate your pick. I think that I agree with you that Georgians got to be put in their own class. I think they have the wrestling. I think they have the cardio, but I think it matters a lot more in a 5-round fight. And if he was a Georgian who kind of fought like Merab, where he put the pressure and he was relentless against Onama, I think he would get the win here. He's not that type of fighter. And I think that when it goes to decision and you have a guy who keeps on the constant pressure, landing a bunch of small shots, maybe not doing a ton of damage, and it still goes to decision, the judges are just going to score towards that guy versus the guy who's picking his shots and just landing fewer strikes,
Yeah.
Especially if he's not mixing in the takedowns, which, I mean, you can see by his takedown average, we haven't really seen him do that much of.
He's going to have to mix it up this fight. Be relentless, like you mentioned. Go to the body, go to the head, shoot the takedowns. Try everything. Mix up his game plan so where David Onama, he's not just reading them like a book, He can't just only have his defend his head and then get shot to the body a bunch of times, or he can't start he's got to mix it up to where David's just not piecing him apart. If he's mixing up his game plan, shooting takedowns, going to the head, going to the body, throwing his kicks, he's going to be a lot harder to win a decision in a 3-round fight. It's just going to be hard. If he's constantly bringing him pressure, the first round, mixes in a takedown, gets it, is there for a minute and a half, outstrikes him that round, he's up 1 round, goes into the second, does the same thing, makes it close. I just think Giga wins a close one here. That's how I see it going.
Yeah, I feel that. Paduano sent another message in the chat saying Onama will tire him out on the floor just based on his weight, and I think it's also an important factor. Even just looking at these pictures, Chikadze has an inch height advantage, but Onama just looks so much bigger. So you guarantee that although they fight in the same weight class, Onama just walks around so much heavier. And come fight night, I think that will play a factor into tiring him out. But he's Georgian. I don't know if he'll get tired out. I just think, yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess. If he
Yeah,
can
well,
land a lot of big shots and if he can drop him, then yeah, bro, you
see, I
guys
think
get
that's
murdered.
David Onama's plan: land big
No,
shots.
the MMA fixer. These guys just keep coming in and hating, bro. Bro, you guys getting murdered 2 weeks in a row now. I went 8 for 9 2 weeks ago, bro. 8 for 9.
Yeah, I got murdered, bro. I got
Yeah,
murdered.
he got murdered. Don't listen to his picks. That's why we're taking Onama, not Chikaze.
No, you take Giga in this one and you feel good about it. Take him by decision here. Technical.
Yeah.
David Onama or Onama. He's just gonna be swinging for his head here. That's his game plan. Go for the knockout. Giga's gonna expose that. Do way more in this fight. Get the win. Get the decision.
Yeah. Co-main event, we got Anthony Smith taking Zhang Ming Yang. We can talk about Anthony Smith all we want. Everything he's done in the past, in my opinion, he's washed. This is probably a retirement fight. Zhang Ming Yang is just gonna like maul him at minus 455 to plus 350. I think it was even wider odds before. I'm not that hot on Ming Yang. I don't think he's like the best fighter ever. I just think Anthony Smith is old and he's not going to get the win against a young 26-year-old here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we could break it down more, but that's the summary there pretty quick.
I mean, yeah, that's freaking fair. Zhang Ming Yang hasn't had a fight go past the first round. All of his finishes in his fights have been in the first round. So it's either going to be Anthony Smith gets knocked out clean here, or he gets past the first round and does something incredible, showing his veteran experience, showing people why he's the Lionheart. I bet on him in his last fight. I hated myself for it after he got knocked out. I hate that I'm going to do it here again. I'm taking Anthony Smith, underdog, over Zhang Ming Yang. I think he gets past the first round. Zhang's going to be clueless. He's going to be like, I just threw everything I had at him in the first 5 minutes. Anthony Smith is going to land something. It's going to hurt him in the second round. Take him down, lock in a submission. Anthony Smith, submission. Oh, you're man. Plus 800. I have some money put on. I put some money on Anthony Smith submission, and that's why I'm going to be rich on Saturday.
I'm with the MMA fixer here, bro. He goes, I think he just like burning money, man.
I see value in Anthony Smith's submission, boys. He's not going to knock out Zhang Ming Yang. He's going to take him down. He has better jiu-jitsu. We've never seen Zhang Ming Yang make it out of the first round. We've never seen Zhang Ming Yang wrestle. We've never seen him do any submissions. Anthony Smith, real dog, fought real contenders. Been in the game, trains his ass off, has the mentality, has something to prove, has everything to lose. His whole career is on the line with this fight. Let's get a freaking guillotine. Let's get a freaking rear naked choke. Let's do it, dude. And fuck, I'm going to be live on Saturday watching this fight, and I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to be laughing my money to the bank, man. I'm going to be fucking so pumped when he gets this resurgence of Anthony Smith that we just – you want to see it, dude. You don't want to see him get slept. We love Anthony Smith. Come on.
Nah, Anthony Smith's getting knocked out in the first round.
See, originally when I looked at this fight, I was like, Zhang Ming Yang, first round knockout. Don't put a penny on Smith. Don't do it. You're going to get robbed. No, that is the wrong mentality. Anthony Smith is the real deal. Oh, we're big on Zhang Ming Yang. Hasn't fought anybody in his whole career. Has knocked out bums. Okay, Anthony Smith is not a bum, man. He's a real vet, real legend. Let's see some like Dominic Reyes new rebirth resurgence in his career. I don't want to see the retirement. I'm off of that. Let's see the resurgence. I'm here for it. Anthony Smith, submission. Lock it. Lock it in, boys. Yeah, he might have a glass chin. Yeah, he might have been knocked out a few times. Yeah, he's getting older. Yeah, he's a commentator. Just believe in one more time, boys. You'll never get to put money on Anthony Smith ever again. He'll never be fighting ever again, probably, if he loses here. So just one last final
straight to retirement, brother. Straight to retirement.
One more ride, man. One more ride. One more cash on Anthony Smith. I need one more cash on Anthony Smith, man. I need it.
Yeah. Hopefully, just don't toss him in parlays. Bet him straight up.
Yeah, just bet him straight up. Don't put Anthony Smith submission in your parlays. That's not
No,
a
I'm
lot.
not telling you to bet it straight up. Well, I'm telling you to. I'm not telling the people to. People avoid Anthony Smith like the plague.
Oh, I
I
can't
just
wait
don't
till
want.
next
I don't want him
week.
to bust your parlays.
Oh, I can't wait to clip this.
Yeah. You're gonna clip it after he gets knocked out. Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates. Super interesting matchup. Carlos Prates. We'll start with him because he's a lot more popular. He's on the Fighting Nerds. He's 4-0 in the UFC. He's on an 11-fight win streak. All 4 fights in the UFC have ended by knockout or TKO. 10 fights in a row have ended by knockout for him, 6 being outside of the UFC. This is his first 5-round fight. His cardio hasn't really been a problem for him at all, even though he's a chain smoker and drinks quite a bit. But I do think that a 5-round fight is going to be a big test. So we'll see how that plays into it. I'd love for him to get the win, but I also think that Ian Gary kind of won me over a little bit after his fight with Shafkat. Fight with Shafkat was a great fight. I thought he did way better than I thought he would. I thought going into the fight, and I kind of still feel like this, but Shafkat's the best fighter in the division over Bilal. Like I think he smokes Bilal if they fight. He's got to come back from that injury and fight him. But yeah, Ian Gary is tough, man. Ian Gary is tough because he's very well rounded and he'll do whatever it takes to win. He's good on his feet. He can take the fight to the ground and keep it there. He showed that against Shafkat, which is kind of where was his great area going into that fight, but he showed that he can hang. I think Carlos Prates has a decent ground game. He's obviously Brazilian. He's got the BJJ background. He's got 91% takedown defense. He is really solid, but he's going to be looking for those power shots. He's going to be looking to take him out. He's got the power. He's got the precision. I think he has the stamina. This is a fight I've been flip-flopping on all week. I was going in super heavy on Ian Gary. The more I think about it, the more I want to bet Carlos. I think Carlos is going to get the win here. I really do. It's not a pick I love, but it's my only underdog pick of the night, and I think he's going to be there. It's a tough one because I feel like I'm picking with my heart, but at the same time, I do feel like I'm picking with my brain. But we'll see what happens.
So what I'm hearing is you think Carlos is going to win by knockout.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the only way I could see him beating Gary is by knockout. You feel me? I don't think he beats him in a 5-round decision.
So I thought you were showing me something. I was like,
nope. Just hear my posters fall down from off the wall.
So earthquakes. I feel you.
Hit a little re-stick to the wall there. Ian Machado Gary, I like that you said you feel better on him after that Shavkat performance, which I agree. But I don't agree with you being so big on Shavkat. I think Bilal would give him big problems. I think Sean Brady would give him big problems. I think Gary could give him problems. I think Buckley could give him problems. I think Shavkat has to prove another fight after his injury before fighting for the title. I don't think he just goes boom after injury, not fighting for 2 years or whatever, goes right to the title. I think he has something to prove. Gary kind of exposed him a bit in that fight, and I think he's going to expose Carlos Prates here. I think he picks him apart, manhandles him, gets him up against the cage, clinch times him, controls him there, gets a trip takedown, gets him to the ground, holds his back, and I think he does that every single round. I think he backs Prates up, gets him against the cage, clinches him, shoots a double leg, shoots a single leg, keeps it there, trips him to the ground, and just holds him. And he can even get, I want to take Ian Gary by submission. I just think that's a horrible bet. We've seen him try and get the rear naked choke on MVP, the rear naked choke on other fighters, and he just doesn't seem to lock these submissions in on Shavkat Rakhmonov. So I don't think a submission here is good for Gary. I just think Gary decision. I like him to win on points. I don't see Carlos putting him away. I like the chin of Gary. He gets hit in every fight pretty much. He gets hit on the chin, but he just kind of like hypes up the crowd and gets back into it. I think he's kind of like got that Irish fighter mentality, kind of like the Scouser in Paddy Pimblett, who's just like refuses to get knocked out. I don't think we see Prates put him away. Although I wouldn't mind seeing Carlos get catapulted to the top. I am a big fan of the Fighting Nerds. I don't want to bet against the streak. I hate betting against fighters on good fight win streaks here. But Ian Gary has proven it to me time and time again. I feel like it would just be foolish to not bet on him here. He's proven to be a super skilled fighter, elite talent, and I like him. I mean, if Protes wasn't in this situation, I'd feel a little bit better if it was like a Buckley or somebody on the other side of this. But Carlos is dangerous, man. Like you said, coming off of 4 knockouts in the UFC, it's tough.
I think you're right. Carlos wins by knockout is like the most likely thing, but I do think that Protes can win on points as well. Actually, I think he can avoid getting taken down, and he only needs to win 3 rounds, right? So if he avoids takedowns in 3 rounds and he just picks his shots and keeps the distance, he's got almost a 4-inch reach advantage as well. You got to keep in mind. I think he can win rounds. I really do. But
yeah, wow, a lot of people saying Protes in the Instagram chat.
Yeah, the whole chat's going Protes, which scares me, bro. Which scares me. I feel like people are betting with their hearts, man. Yeah. That's how I feel.
He's only a small underdog. I'd expect it to be a little bit more of a favorite on Ian Gary. I like the money that I'm getting on Ian Gary when I bet him. And I just feel a lot better on putting this kind of cherry on top of my parlays as Ian Gary money line. It's literally the cherry on top of most of my parlays on this card. It's just, I feel like if Carlos Protes wins, it's going to be by knockout, and it's got to be early. And I just can't see somebody like Ian Gary getting chinned early by Protes. I think there's too much on the line, and he has so much more to prove to like his fan base of like standing on what it means to be a good fighter, healthy, clean, in a marriage, healthy family, healthy lifestyle, where Carlos Protes is like in the club, smoking, drinking, not promoting that healthy lifestyle of a fighter. So I think this is just Ian Gary's going to win, and he's going to do it for his fans, which isn't many nowadays, I could tell.
I think it's a lot more than it was like a few months ago, though.
Dude, I remember when he was just like beginning to fight in the UFC and how big of a prospect he was, and going on Jake Paul, and like just like everyone was co-signing Gary to be like the next Conor McGregor. Then it was Paddy Pimblett. Now it's these other fighters. But I believe
Wandos goes. Gary eats sausage and beans out of a tin, bro, because of your healthy lifestyle rant.
Oh man, I mean, I couldn't even imagine what Protes is eating, man. But I mean, both these fighters are truly professionals, man, in the top 15. I love that this is the replacement fight for Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. I'm not upset that we don't have that fight happening, because we get such a banger here. I love welterweight.
Way better.
Yeah, in my opinion, this fight is better than the Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, which is crazy to say, but I think this is going to be an exciting fight. I don't see Ian Gary knocking out Protes, and I don't see Protes knocking out Ian Gary. So I'm just going to take who I think is the more technical, more well-rounded fighter, which I believe right now to be Ian Gary. I don't think Carlos Protes will never become that level of fighter. I think he's right there. I just think this is a bad one for him. Maybe a Buckley would have been a better test, or somebody like that. I just think Ian Gary is much better, and he's going to get that decision win over Protes. Yeah, like you said, Carlos only needs to win 3 rounds. Ian Gary only needs to win 3 rounds. He could do that with control time on clinch ground. Right. So many ways where it's like Protes to win those rounds, he's got to really like cut him, land in really crazy strikes. It's just harder to root for that and see that happening than Ian Gary just being Ian Gary and getting the decision win here.
MMA Finkster at this pace feels like bankruptcy is very soon.
Buddy. Yeah. I mean, we're a few UFC fights cards away from that for sure. We need to hit that Anthony Smith submission 2nd round, and then we'll be in the bank.
Yeah. Or in bankruptcy.
You know what they say? They say get even or get even worse. So we're going to keep betting until we get even, baby.
Protes is 110 money line, but only 165 for by knockout. So the bookies have knockout all over. It's like plus 700 for decision.
Yeah. And I mean, when you look on the Fighting Nerds, like Kyle Bahal's Instagram, he's like doing polls and predictions on his Instagram story of how do you think Carlos is going to win here, and it's like 90% of the votes is for knockout. So it's like everybody is betting Carlos Prates. You're either betting Carlos Prates to win by knockout, or you think Ian Gary is going to win decision. And I'm on the lines of Ian Gary decision here.
Yeah.
Let's be sharp. Let me have a sharp take for once. This being my sharp take, Ian Gary decision, money line. Hammer it, boys.
Yeah, it's a tough
Brazilian
one. It's a tough one.
It's a super tough one. I mean, I'm going against a whole gym here, undefeated. Like, what are they? 18-0, 19-0 in the UFC,
something like that.
All of them have potential to become champions within their divisions. And I'm saying, not this guy. Smokes too many darts. So,
I think it's gonna get the knockout here. I really do.
Ian Gary gets knocked out.
Shock the world. Yeah. The Irish don't really get knocked out that often, but but I think Carlos Prates has potential a lot.
And in their media day, Ian Gary broke it down like Carlos Prates he has a good left hand, he has a good left knee, he's good on his left side, but that's his game. Like Ian Gary said, he's way better than him with his left, his right, his kicks, his this, his that. He was just kind of like he kind of convinced me in his media day, whereas Carlos was just like, yeah, I'm on a 4-fight win streak, 4 knockout win streak. I've been in 2 main events already, this, that, and the third, where Ian Gary's only had 1 main event. He's been in the UFC for 4 years. I've been in here for 1 year and had 2 main events. So there are those little things that like kind of favor Prates, like having the main event experience. But Ian Gary is a 5-round fighter. He spars every day of his life, healthy lifestyle, really lives the fighter lifestyle. Just, can I feel good about Ian Gary? Can I feel good about this pick? I want to, bro. And you're telling me Carlos is going to knock him out, and that really hurts me because you're pretty sharp on your picks, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I was Ian Gary literally up until today, bro. That's how strongly I felt about him. But the more I looked at it, the more I researched it, I was like,
yeah. So Ian, for my pick,
is just really good.
Ian Gary, yeah.
Go ahead.
Just the fixer, he said recap. You got Giga, Anthony Smith, and Ian Gary. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like, that's a crazy trio.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. But no, I think Ian Gary does everything really well. He doesn't have a wow factor about him. And I think Carlos Prates also does everything really well. We just haven't seen it because he hasn't been in the UFC as long, but he does have a wow factor, which I think is what's going to be the difference here. But anyway, next week we'll be back Thursday, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Or 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Corey Sandhagen's taking on Davison Figueiredo in the main event. I think this one's in Iowa. And then you also, it's actually a decent card. Co-main is Bo Nickel versus Renier de Ritter. Feature fight, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus D-Rod. I got to interview D-Rod when I was at DBX in Miami. They just announced DBX 2, which is massive. We'll definitely be there. Very fun event to be at. But yeah, some decent fights next week. So we'll see what's up. But appreciate y'all in the chat. We'll see y'all next week though.
Yeah. Lastly, from me, I just want to say Saturday night I'll be live reacting to the whole fight card, starting from the end of the prelims to the very main event. So if you're not doing anything for UFC Kansas City, come join my live. I'll be live on Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, come join in the chat. See if I'm going to crush that Anthony Smith submission bet or not and lose all my money. It's pretty funny. So come join on Saturday.
At Cody Talks IF to stay updated with what Cody's up to. But yeah, we appreciate you all. We'll see y'all next week.
Let's go. Take care, guys.